Lucy's Kitchen, it's Lucy's Kitchen. She's Lucy and she's got a kitchen. Lucy's Kitchen.
And now that we've got your attention, let's cook. Hi there. Welcome to Lucy's Kitchen. I'm Lucy, and this is my kitchen. As many of you know, I live in New Mexico. And so today we're going to make a real New Mexico treat, Frito Pie. Frito Pie is just a wonderful dish that I discovered when I first came here. As a matter of fact, I was at a dime store, and right there was a lunch counter, which was amazing because you don't see those very much anymore. And so I sat down to have something, and up on the sign it said Frito Pie. Well, I didn't know what that was, but it sure sounded good. So I asked for some, and ever since I've been a real aficionado of Frito Pie. Sometimes it's even served in just a little bag, like each person gets their own bag of Fritos and they open them up in a bowl, and like with the bag there, they just pour in the chili, and it's just incredible. Now you can make Frito Pie with any kind of chili, of course. You can even make it with canned chili. I recommend trying it the true New Mexico way with real red chili. Now, in New Mexico, red chili is a ground up chili powder made from New Mexico chilies. The closest thing I can describe is that they're ancho chilies. So if you can find ancho chili powder, it's a pure chili, doesn't have anything else in it, it's just chili. So we're going to start with the chili because it needs to soak for a little while. So I've got 3/4 of a cup of this wonderful New Mexico chili, and I have a quart of chicken broth. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the chili in my little bowl here and slowly add the broth. You can use any kind of broth. This happens to be homemade broth, but feel free to use commercial broth. If you don't want to use chicken broth, use vegetable broth. If you don't want to use vegetable broth, use water. It'll all be good. So the reason I'm doing this is I want it to mix without clumping. So we like the red chili, and by red chili, I mean New Mexico red chili, and by New Mexico red chili, I mean from Hatch, New Mexico, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the chili capital of the world. As a matter of fact, Hatch is not only famous for its red chili, but it's famous for its green chilies. And in the fall, all over New Mexico, you can smell sacks and sacks of green chilies roasting over these incredible fires in drums with people, you know, just spinning them until the skins come off and they blacken, and oh, it's just incredible. It's the most wonderful smell imaginable. Well, after those green chilies ripen, they turn into red chilies, and the red chilies are allowed to dry. Sometimes you've seen chili ristras, which are these hanging red chilies that New Mexico is famous for. And so those are taken. They're actually stemmed and seeded, and they're ground up, and then they're made into a dried chili, like a powder. So this is what we have here. This is a really neat dish because, as I said earlier, you can use any kind of chili for it, including this really authentic New Mexico red chili sauce. I'm soaking this chili and I'm going to just let it sit for a few minutes while we talk about the other ingredients. We've got some really nice spices. We've got some cumin, we've got oregano, of course salt, we've got some nice garlic, cloves, and I would recommend cutting them in half so that you can have the surface of them exude their wonderful flavor into the chili sauce, but we're not going to chop them, so just leave them in here. We've got, then we're going to make separately, we're going to make our ground beef, and I've got 2 pounds of very good quality ground beef here. Now, I like to use grass-fed beef, but obviously you can use any beef you like. It should be about 85% lean, and that gives you a little bit of fat, which will help cook the onions that you cook alongside. The onions are about a half an onion chopped fine, and that makes about a cup of chopped onions. So we don't want an overwhelming amount of onion. It's just enough to give the meat a little bit of extra flavor. When we combine all of this, we're going to have a really, really delicious dish. And then finally, when we make the red chili, we saute all of this together. As you'll see, we have a little secret ingredient. Now, this is from a cook in northern New Mexico, and it's a family secret, but I'm going to share it with you. It's a little dash of red wine vinegar. We add that to our chili sauce, and somehow that little bit of red wine vinegar, which you can't even taste, brings out the flavor of the chili in a way that you didn't even imagine. I'm using red chili that's mild, but it still has some bite. Feel free to use medium, hot if you're really brave, but you can always add heat later. You can add jalapenos to this, as I'll show you later when we serve this up and give it a try. Now, let's go over and start our cooking process, and I will show you how to put this all together. I'm heating up my pan now, so I've got some vegetable oil, and what I'm using is avocado oil because I like the fact that it doesn't burn. So we don't want anything to burn. We just want it to be this marvelous flavor extraction, and that's what we're doing. So we're going to just have a little avocado oil. If you don't have avocado oil, you could use olive oil, a mild olive oil, and you could, of course, use vegetable oil. Just watch so that you don't scorch anything. So I'm going to let this heat up a little bit, and the first thing we'll add is our garlic. And the garlic is already sputtering. So let me get one of my trusty spatulas. Now what we want to do is we want to get this garlic nice and fragrant. And so as soon as it starts to bubble in there, we're going to turn our heat down so that we don't burn it. Garlic burns very easily. Now when it's whole cloves like this, it doesn't burn quite as quickly as it does when it's chopped, but nonetheless, you still want to be careful. And we're just getting this in here for garlic flavor. And then these cloves, which will be softened and sauteed with the other herbs, they're going to really impart a lovely flavor to the chili as it slowly simmers. Okay, our garlic is just turning brown, so perfect time to add the oregano. Now you can use authentic Mexican oregano, and that has a little bit of a sweet flavor. I'm using Greek oregano because I'm Greek, and so this is my Greco New Mexican version. And any oregano, even oregano from your yard. I would use dried oregano, not fresh oregano, because it has a slightly different flavor. So cumin. And so this is great because I turn the heat down. It's just bubbling. That bubbling tells me that it's giving up its flavor. It's going to be so good. And now we're going to add our chili that has been soaking for 20 minutes. I'm going to give it a stir. Okay. And I'm going to just stir it. Whoa. Now this chili sauce, we're going to bring it to a boil, then we're going to reduce the heat and simmer it. We're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes and before we do the other ingredients. So let's get this thing boiling. I'm going to add, I'm going to go ahead and add the salt right now for flavor. And we just are adding a teaspoon of salt. We don't want a lot of salt, but we do want some salt so that it gives this chili a nice edge. And as I mentioned earlier, we got our little bit of wine vinegar, just a splash. And so we're going to have about a quart, a little bit more than a quart of red chili sauce from this recipe. And this is enough to serve about 8 people. So we're going to just get this thing going, simmer it. It smells amazing. It's just beautiful. And we want it to thicken just a little. All right, I'm going to cover it now and bring it to a boil. So while our red chili is simmering on another burner, I'm going to brown our ground beef. And it has plenty of fat, so we don't need to add any more fat to it. To make this process even easier, we'll just throw the onions in at the same time. We want all the redness gone from this. Keep it on high so it doesn't boil. And then start smushing it. Just chop at it. It takes some work to get 2 pounds of ground beef browned, I can tell you that. Imagine making this for a family reunion or something. I mean, they're cooking for days. Not 2 pounds, but 10 pounds or 12 pounds. In giant, giant pots. Frito pie is a great and really versatile dish. It's inexpensive to prepare. It's easy to prepare. Once you have it made, you can freeze portions of it in your freezer. And it's easy, even though I'm cooking ground beef here, you can easily make this into a vegetarian dish. Now, one of the nice things that people in New Mexico add to their chili are cooked pinto beans. Pinto beans are really delicious. Now, you might not want to cook them, but let me assure you that I have a very easy recipe on the website accompanying this recipe so that you can learn how to make the most delicious pinto beans you've ever tasted, and unbelievably simple. So please give it a try. Now, we're just about done here. Our ground beef is nicely browned. I'm going to take a minute and drain it, and then we'll come back and finish up this dish. All right, we drained our ground beef and onions. Put it back in the pot. Now we're going to add the chili. The chili has been simmering, and it's turned a gorgeous, deep red color. We're just going to pour that right in, and look out. Whoa! Now, I don't want to waste any of this, so I'm going to use my spatula and scrape all of it out. Put it right in there. Now, we're going to simmer this with the meat for another 20 minutes. And I'm going to put this all the way down to the lowest setting. And we'll see you in 20 minutes when everything's ready and we'll be able to give it all a try. Okay, our chili is ready. Now, if you have a big group and you want to keep this chili warm, you can put it in a slow cooker and just let it stay warm in there. The same thing with the beans. You can ask a friend to bring a second slow cooker over. That's what people do. And then you'll always keep them warm, ready for all the toppings. We're really going to enjoy this today. So I'm going to reveal our beans first. Look at them. They've just become sort of one with the broth. You know, they're really lovely. They are broken. Some of them are very soft. Some of them are a little bit more firm, but they're tender throughout, very flavorful. I can smell the bacon and onions. They're going to be fantastic. Ah, and our chili is absolutely gorgeous. We've got very, very deep, dark red tones in this chili with the beef, and it's really very pure. Pure chili, pure beef. That's all you need. That, beans, and of course, Fritos. So we're going to go ahead and give this a try. Now, Frito pie is a wonderful basic dish. It's not fancy. In fact, what makes it really great is that you can just have the chili right on the Fritos and you're good to go. That's really delicious. But I like to add a few things and, you know, make it your own, just whatever your family loves. I know what my family loves, which is everything. So we're going to have some Fritos. We're going to construct this with lots of toppings. I'm going to put my Fritos in there. We're going to take our beans. In fact, let me just get a little closer. Okay, I'm going to do some beans on top of the Fritos. We'll have some of the red chili. You can see how beautiful that is. Now, I think I'm going to put some lettuce on here. And some tomatoes. Maybe a little dollop of sour cream. Oops, right in the middle there. And of course, some avocado. Feel free to use guacamole if you want. I like avocado. I've got some cheese. I've got some green onions. And a piece of lime. And cilantro. Can't do without cilantro. At least I can't. Here's my lime. I'm going to squeeze it over that. Okay. And for the really brave, got some jalapenos to impress your friends. And top it off with a few more Fritos. There you go. And jalapenos, by the way, are a really great addition to a lot of things. If you take the seeds and the ribs out, they're not very hot. And that's something to know, because some people are like, oh no, they're too hot for me. Well, just take the seeds and the ribs out, and then they're tolerable. In this case, however, I've left the ribs in, I've taken the seeds out, and they're going to add a nice, spicy, and fresh flavor to this Frito pie. Isn't that beautiful? Looks good enough to eat, doesn't it? Well, that's just what I'm going to do. Get a little spoonful here with everything. Fritos and beans and everything. That's New Mexico comfort food. Right there in a bowl. Spicy. This is really wonderful. So I definitely recommend you give this a try. It is absolutely delicious. It will take you back to New Mexico if you've ever visited. And if you're from New Mexico, you know what I'm talking about. And if you have never been to New Mexico, I promise you, once you taste this, you will want to come here and check it out. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Lucy's Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next time when we have more delicious recipes from my kitchen to yours.